order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Have your mics on. Roll, please.
Trustee Bond?
Here.
Trustee Lee?
Yep.
Trustee Heinz?
Yay.
Trustee Brawley?
Here.
Trustee Keck?
Yes.
Trustee Kazmir?
Yay.
Okay, under public participation this evening, we have public comment. This is a 2-minute opportunity to address the board with any questions or issues you might have. Do we have anybody that wishes to do that this evening? Not seeing any. Our next item, we'll move on, is a presentation of the River Run proceeds to Hesed House. And I'll defer to Acting Administrator Zolfo.
Thank you, President Michelini. Our intern, Lauren Stott, is going to do a presentation about it here as soon as I get my part of the act together here.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Lauren. I'm an administrative intern here in the Village of Montgomery. And tonight I want to talk a little bit about the results of the 5K the Village hosted in October. And now that we've settled our budget for the event, we're able to donate the money that we raised from the race. Our special guest tonight is Mary Enzer. She's the Division Director of Resources at Hesed House in Aurora. Hesed House is a wonderful resource for homeless people in the Fox Valley area, and Mary is here on behalf of Hesed to accept the village donation of funding from the River Run. I'm going to quickly go through some slides about last year's race, and then Mary's going to really quickly talk about how Hesed House serves the community, and after that we'll be able to present Mary with our check. So this October, the event went very smoothly. We had great weather and a really strong turnout. The 2012 race had 261 participants registered, and by far our biggest age group was females ages 30 to 34. There are about 25 women who actually finished the race in that age group. Our overall winners were Ray Herod for the men and Lori Palmer for women. The overall winners received a plaque, a gift certificate for Dick's Sporting Goods, which was donated by Dick's, and the village wishes them congratulations on their performance as well. Participation in general was really strong, and in 2012 we really tried to push the option for participating as a team. We had a really great team turnout this year, and we were able to award prizes to the teams and recognize them after the race. We hope to increase the team participation in next year too. So there's our teams and a picture of one of the teams. And as I mentioned before, we were really happy about being able to distribute prizes to so many participants this year. Dick's Sporting Goods, Panera, and the Fox Valley Park District all donated gift cards for some of our winners. So it was great to have them participate in that way. And of course, we would never have had such a successful race without help. We were assisted by members of the Montgomery Police and Public Works Departments, as well as the Montgomery Countryside Fire Protection District. We also enjoyed help from volunteers from Kohl's, the Aurora University Nursing Program, and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And finally, of course, we really want to thank our sponsors for the race. We had a really amazing response from the community businesses, and we are really thrilled to be able to present $3,000 to Hesed House tonight. So yeah, without the sponsors, we really couldn't have done this, and we wouldn't have as much to give. So before I turn it over to Mary, I just want to remind everyone that our 2013 race will be October 5th, and this year will be our 10th anniversary, so I hope everyone will come out and run or at least watch or volunteer. All right, thank you very much. Sorry.
Good evening.
I think this is the third or fourth year I've been blessed in having the opportunity to come and talk with all of you. And for 1 year, I wish I could come here with good news. And not 1 year can I bring a rosy outlook. I can tell you that we're transitioning people out of homelessness at a faster rate than we ever did. So we're doing good work, and we're doing it smarter than we ever did. But sadly, the numbers are higher than when I was here last year. We still have a new person at our door, newly homeless every 10 and a half hours. There's no end in sight here. So tonight, the money that you're giving to help our organization is going to impact 227 men tonight. There hasn't been an empty mat in the men's sleeping room in over 9 years, 40 to 60 kids, and another 50 to 60 women. But I have to tell you, you should be very proud of what Hesed House is doing in your organization here. We're the state of Illinois' largest homeless shelter. Stop and think about that. Outside of the city of Chicago, on raw numbers served, and it's happening a half a mile from where we're meeting tonight. Great things are going on. Since we've had an addiction and alcoholic counselor on site at Hesed House, sobriety has gone up 389%. We have kids graduating from school, headed off to college. People are finding jobs because of the full-time job instructor that we have at Hesed House. So it would be easy to be frustrated that here I am again, handout, being so very grateful. But we have to be proud in knowing that we're doing all of this together. It's very ironic, when I was leaving to come here tonight, I was taking my coat off the back of the door, and I looked out one window and I saw hundreds of people lined up on a cold night waiting to come in because our doors open at 7 o'clock. But as I walked down the hall past the transitional living community, I looked inside, and there were about 30 kids putting their mats down to sleep for the night. And one little guy, about 10 years old, was being surprised with a birthday cake, and the kids were singing happy birthday. So I have to believe that all of us together, and with your support, that mom and some of those kids aren't going to be there next year. And we couldn't do it without you, so thank you so very much.
I'm sorry we don't have better news to share, but I know what a good job Hesed House does, and I'm very supportive.
Well, thank you, Marilyn. I really do appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marion. All we can do is say that we hope this helps, and, you know,
It will.
we
It
will
truly
do
will.
everything we can for next year, too. So
Thank you.
very
Thank you
much.
for always thinking of us. We really appreciate it.
So on behalf of the Village of Montgomery and the River Run Committee, we want to present you the check for $3,000 for Hesed House.
And I guess I will just jump in here and add that EEI has been one of the co-founding members of this event, so it couldn't be done without them, so thank you, Pete.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
And thank you. Thank you for being here, and thank you to everybody that participated, and to EEI and all the runners, and it was a really good event this year, and I'm so happy that we can present you with the check.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming, Mary.
Kids? Huh? Yeah, one of your family.
Okay, we'll move on to the board, commission, and committee reports. Beautification Committee, Trustee Bond.
Beautification Committee will meet this Wednesday, January 16th at 6 o'clock.
Thank you. And the Historic Preservation Commission will meet Monday, January 21st at 6:30 PM in the community room. Our next item is a consent agenda. I'll go through and read the consent agenda and then entertain a motion for approval. Minutes of the village board meeting of December 10th, 2012. Minutes of the executive session of December 10th, 2012. Minutes of the committee of the whole meeting of December 18th, 2012. Accounts payable through January 8th, 2013, in the amount of $818,683.58. Building report for December 2012. Accounts receivable report for December 2012. An appointment by the village president of Steve Youngerman, 2109 Emma Avenue, to the Plan Commission for a term from February 1st, 2013 through January 31st, 2018. Appointment by the village president of Gerard DeStarvel, 1352 Sycamore Lane, to the Plan Commission for a term from February 1st, 2013 through January 13th, 2018. Appointment by the village president of Steve Youngerman, 2109 Emma Avenue, to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a term from February 1st, 2013 through January 31st, 2018. Appointment by the village president of Gerard DeStarvel, 1352 Sycamore Lane, to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a term from February 1st, 2013 through January 31st, 2018. Appointment by the village president of Robin Strait, 2826 Margaret Drive, to the Beautification Committee for a term from January 14th, 2013 through July 31st, 2014. And I'm sorry, I did have a trustee that requested that 3 items be pulled from the accounts payable. So I'll remove the accounts payable, and for the approval of the other items under the consent agenda, I entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Take the roll, please.
Trustee Bond?
Yes.
Trustee Lee?
Yes.
Trustee Heinz?
Yea.
Trustee Brawley?
Yes.
Trustee Keck?
Yes.
Trustee Kazmir?
Yay.
And the motion carries. And then the 3 under the accounts receivable, which we will address separately.
You each should have had a packet in your spot tonight that has a copy of the 3 invoices in question. The one on top says Colonial Modeling and Construction on top. Then the back page of that has the second one, Scorpio Construction, and the rest of the pages is the third one, it's Pizzo and Associates. So those are the 3 that have been requested to be removed.
And Trustee Hines, you asked to have the items removed.
Yes.
I apologize again, but anyway, let's take the first one, the Colonial Remodeling and Construction. You have a
Yeah.
question?
Why didn't we have our guys do this sign work instead of sending this out to pay them when we're trying to save money?
Well, it's a good question, trustee. It really got to do with the timing of the year. This is the time of year when we're trying to finish leaf pickup, do all the holiday decorations downtown in front of the village hall. And in part also because the level of the woodwork was a little bit higher. I mean, it wasn't elaborate woodwork, but there was some scallop trim on there that we don't really have woodworking equipment. But more, the biggest reason is just our people were doing other things.
Well, I don't agree with that, I'm sorry, but if we can save money without sending this out, I would like to see us start doing that. Or else, we should hire 2 more people for Public Works, Street Department.
I agree with both of those statements, I do.
And the second one I have is Scorpio.
Yes, sir.
We had to repair on Alcott Road and Route 31, that little divider there. Why did we have their backhoe down there in our truck? Why can't we use our own backhoe and our own men for that job?
Well, we kind of split the duties on this one. We did supply a truck to haul the material out of there. Our staff did all the concrete work to replace it. The main reason for bringing Scorpio in, aside from staffing challenges at the time of year, was the uniqueness of the situation. As everybody's familiar with Alcott and Route 31, it's fairly high traffic. Part of this cost was also to rent traffic control devices, so barricades and signs and things like that, which we don't have a full supply of. We do have some of that. So again, a combination of staffing and ability to do the job safely I just felt mainly due to the high traffic area there, trustee, there's a lot of turning movements coming off of 31 onto Ockett from trucks, and
We have guys that gone to school for directing traffic, right? When you're working on the road?
yep, we have flaggers.
We should have had our guys down there for that. That's another one I don't agree on. I don't know, this Scorpio, what was the bill, 4,600? That's for that job right there, correct?
Correct,
It's a lot of money, Michael. A lot of money. And
Well, I don't
we're gonna have to
disagree. I
start,
mean-
go ahead, I'm sorry.
I don't disagree that it's a lot of money, and we don't do this type of thing very often. I work with Gary Byer on this to determine, at times when we have to bring in additional people, we will hire people to haul material for us occasionally because of staffing. And I don't disagree with you, trustee. We don't want to spend money needlessly either.
Well,
And I'll continue to work with our staff to do that. And we have qualified people, no doubt. It wasn't that our guys weren't qualified. A little bit on the traffic control for the one, again, just because of the liability involved with traffic control and the amount of traffic and the tight configuration, I felt it was in our best interest to let Scorpio handle that and be responsible for it. But I'll certainly continue to work to minimize these types of uses of outside contractors.
I would appreciate that very much.
Can I add on to that a little bit? For the traffic control devices, is there something we can look into in the future that we need to purchase for stuff like this, or,
We got
What was-
guys that went to school for that.
no, I'm talking the devices,
Well-
not the men, but what
Yeah,
was,
I'm
Sorry,
sorry,
go
I didn't
ahead.
mean to interrupt.
no, go ahead.
I guess when we're talking about traffic control devices, we mean the barricades and those types of things and the signs. And I've spoken many times here about the manual and uniform traffic control devices and their standards, et cetera, for that type of equipment. We do have barricades. Again, I can't ensure, I know that some of the small barricades are not up to MUTCD standards because of their condition. We don't have lights for all of them, that type of thing. So, and we can purchase that type of equipment. I would like to avoid buying a lot of it for the one or two jobs every couple of years that we need it, because then we're just buying equipment that's gonna sit around. So, again, I certainly don't have any intentions of wasting the village's money, and we use this type of, outside contractor fairly sparingly, I believe, but continue to work for it. But I guess to answer your question, yes, we could buy more barricades and such, but I don't
No.
know if we'd have a need for them.
I know it wasn't Scorpio, but we had a situation out west before when they were doing Concord Drive, repatching it. They didn't have a lot of devices or whatever out there, and there was a lot of confusion, I guess.
Scorpio Construction,
No, it wasn't Scorpio. Whoever did the Concord
the
Drive,
crack ceiling,
yeah, the crack saying,
there were some issues with the crack ceiling, traffic control,
yeah.
no
so
doubt
I was
about it.
just- I was just checking, that's all. Thanks.
Okay, the other bill that we have pulled was a Pizzo bill.
And all these basins, excuse me, Marilyn. Doesn't that what is that, SSA? Don't that, association pay for these?
This does come out, most of these come out of the special service area funds, and those are the funds that we levy and put in separate accounts. There may be some on here, and I didn't make a copy of the entire bill. The police department basin and two other basins are the villages. Those would come out of our general fund. But all the others are divided up by their special service area. So you can generally see on there, let's see. We try to code,
One's Fairfield. Belmoro.
See, the first one, basin maintenance AR, that's Arbor Ridge, would be AR, if that was weed control, we have a weed issue there. The second one on the first page, basin maintenance Balmorhea east to north, general stewardship, so that's one of the Balmorhea basins. The third one, and if you go through all of them, if you,
Looking quickly, it looks like there's about 8,300 that came out of for the village basins. And,
that could be, I didn't add them up.
yeah, I see Civic Center, Cornell, and Orchard
Orchard Road.
Road Extension. There are 3 items there,
And the-
but the rest are all SSA items.
And that's out of their money, not ours?
The 8,300 would come out of our money for
Yes,
like the
but the
police
rest
base.
is
The rest
out-
is from the special service
Right.
areas.
I believe we had 25,000 in our budget for the entire year for our 3 basins, trustee Hines, so any work done on those 3 would come out of the village's funding, which.
Maybe you should next time put our basins in there separate from the SSA ones.
If you'd like to, we can work on that. This is really more of a, an accounting document. I mean, if it would benefit to have that broken out, I could try to do that. If you'd like to see the village
We
costs.
could do that
or-
on the bills list, we could list them,
Yeah, in the listing
we
of
could
the
list them
bills.
separately.
I'd appreciate that.
Okay.
Thank you for the time.
Okay, we've discussed these three items, the Colonial Remodeling Construction, Inc., for 1,246, and Scorpio for 4,600, and then the Pizzo, which I don't have a final bill on that, but I would entertain a motion to approve these three bills that were pulled out.
So move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded, take the roll, please.
Trustee Lee?
Yes.
Trustee Heinz?
Yay.
Trustee Brawley?
Yes.
Trustee Keck?
Yes.
Trustee Kazmir?
Yay.
Trustee Bond?
Yes.
And the motion carries. With that, we'll move on to items for separate action. Item A, Resolution 13-001, adopting the Sixth Amendment to the Village of Montgomery's Flexible Benefit Plan. And I will defer to Acting Administrator Zoffel.
Thank you, President Michelini. As you're aware, we have a flexible benefits plan that allows our employees to contribute money from their paychecks pre-tax that they can then use either for dependent care, child care, or for health costs that aren't reimbursed by their insurance. Every once in a while, there are either changes in the laws or the IRS changes some of the guidelines and limitations on how much you can contribute. When that happens, Sikich LLC, our auditors, provide us with an updated document just so that we are current with all of those. That is what this document here does tonight. A couple of things it extends is the grace period. So usually if you don't use all of your money within the year, then you lose that money. There's a grace period of 2.5 months where you can continue to incur costs to use up those funds. They've updated the medical expenses definition, so it lists out exactly what qualifies, what you can pay for with your money. And then they put in the limitation of what you can contribute for your health flexible spending account, which is $2,500. There are also updates to the language of several laws, the Mental Health Parity and Addiction Equity Act, the Genetic Information Non-Discrimination Act, the Women's Health and Cancer Rights Act, and the Newborns and Mothers Health Protection Act. So with that, I would answer any questions you might have.
Are there any questions for Administrator Zoffel? Questions? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
So moved?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Take the roll, please.
Trustee Bond?
Yes?
Trustee Lee?
Yes.
Trustee Heinz?
Yay.
Trustee Brawley?
Yes.
Trustee Keck?
Yes.
Trustee Kazmir?
Yay.
And the motion carries. Next item is the intergovernmental agreement with the Illinois Department of Transportation, IDOT, for improvements to the Route 30 from Route 34 to Briarcliff and the state job number C 91-015-010. And I'm going to defer to our attorney, Anderson.
May I just say for the next two items, you had updated agreements at your place tonight.
Yes,
So I think those are the ones Steve will be referring to.
Correct.
these two. So, would you like to go ahead?
Sure.
Okay.
You're okay with sarcasm?
I said, do what you have to do.
Okay. Well, you hear stories about government abuse and excess, right? $10,000 toilet seats, $5,000 hammers, and you say to yourself, well, that doesn't happen, that's not real. Or if it did happen, it's over, we corrected those problems. Oh, no, we didn't. Oh, no, we didn't. This experience with IDOT is Exhibit A of embarrassing government excess. And I'm sorry to have to say that, but we have two good projects here in the Village of Montgomery. Projects that IDOT wants to do, projects that the village wants to do, right? They're going to pay for most of it, you're going to pay for a little bit of it, you're going to get some extras with that, that's all good. And so as we're going through these intergovernmental agreements with the state of Illinois and our fine representatives down there, we got to hear things like, well, my personal favorite was that we don't think a lot down here in Springfield. That was my personal favorite quote. I think Pete liked that one too. Pete, do you like that one? That was one of the toppers. Because Pete made an impassioned and logical argument for why you shouldn't have to be responsible for all the maintenance on the Goodwin Drive intersection. And they said, that is compelling. But we do not think a lot down here in Springfield, and so we can't do that. And then we requested a number of other reasonable changes to the agreement, which they said, those are reasonable. However, this is a form document. We paid a lot of good money for this form, and so we can't change it. Now, you can write all over it if you want, and that'll show that we went to the mat on our form. And so you'll see, if you look through it, you see handwriting now. That's my handwriting, which, good luck reading that, by the way. But because we were not allowed to actually change the form. But it's okay for us to write on it, and then they'll initial it after the fact. So I had to go through and take all the red lines that Pete did for me very kindly and handwrite them in, because that's a good way of doing things with the government. So what we're left with then is the question of whether or not you should pass this. And notwithstanding my frustration with this experience, I would suggest that you do. But I would suggest you do it with two caveats. And by the way, I'm not talking about one of these, I'm talking about both of them, because they're virtually identical agreements, just slightly different aspects of projects. And the qualifier is this, is I'd ask you to pass them subject to attorney review. The reason for that is I'd like you to pass them as I've written them here, but we've inserted into it a few things that Pete's going to talk about it in a minute. If it turns out we cannot convince IDOT to relent on the positions that Pete's going to explain, I still recommend you go forward with this deal, because it's a good deal for the village. But there are a couple of things that are unfair the way they've done it, and that's what Pete's going to address. The reason I ask you to pass it subject to attorney review is so that if we have to, we can back those changes out without having to bring it back to you. So with that, that's probably enough sarcasm, and I'll turn it over to Mr. Wallers.
Okay, thank you, Attorney Anderson. I guess the largest sticking point from the village's perspective was the intersection at US 30 and Goodwin Drive. And the state's position is that that intersection is 100% benefit to Montgomery. It was installed as part of a development that benefited the commercial area, and therefore the state shouldn't have any cost associated with the upgrade of the signal. The position the village has taken all along is that we spent a lot of time back in, and some of you may recall, back in 2000, identifying all of the access points along the entire corridor from Route 34 to Route 47, and getting Springfield to approve all of our access points, of which this intersection at Goodwin is a approved access point. And remember that Route 30 is a strategic regional arterial, SRA route, which the state had bought most of the access rights for the entire corridor. So, you know, and the criteria for an access point was that it had to connect to another street. It couldn't just be an access into a commercial area. Well, Goodwin, not only does it connect another street, it actually connects another state route, which is Hill Avenue. So now we have an access point on the state highway that serves the library, it serves a residential development, and incidentally does also serve a commercial development, Ogden Hill. But in our opinion, that is certainly a public access road, and it connects to another public access road. So we felt from the beginning, and this goes back since we've discussed this over a year ago, that the village's share for that intersection should be about 33%. And as much as we talked to, and we started talking with the construction folks, design folks early on, and then it finally got down to the guys that are doing the agreements and made the same case each time, but the position they've taken is that they are not going to, they don't see it that way. And so in the cost-sharing agreement that is on the back of the exhibit, it's Exhibit A, or on the back of the agreement's Exhibit A, it has in there for the US 30 Goodwin that 100% of the intersection costs, which amount to about $141,000, or excuse me, $121,900, are the responsibility of the village. And what we felt from day one is that we would be on the hook for basically a third of those, with the exception of the vehicle preemption, which we understand the state doesn't cover. So what we felt was a reasonable share was the $44,900, which would be about a $77,000 difference of opinion. So that's really been the issue that Steve, Mike, and I have been working on, and Jeff, for a long time to try to get them to see the light, but we've really not been successful in that regard, and it doesn't appear that we're able to be successful. So that's the biggest item that, we had an issue with. There's other items in there that Steve has made the corrections handwritten, and I'll just give you a couple things are just to have them provide documentation for us, because they want us to, we intend to use MFT monies to pay for the village share. And some of these things we have discussed, like the sidewalk and the lighting at the intersection, those things we talked about, you may recall back in July. We would use MFT monies to pay for those, and we've budgeted for that over a period of time, but we just want to make sure we have the correct documentation so we can use our MFT monies. And ironically, you would think that that would be a no-brainer because it's both IDOT, but it's a whole different group of IDOT and not our, the people that we, and Mike and I, have to get approval for our expenditure. So we just want to make sure that when we need documentation, like on material certifications and things that we won't have any control over because we're not doing the construction, that we'll have it. I think those are pretty straightforward. We also have a note, they also wanted us, the village, to take over maintenance of storm sewers on the state right-of-way, which we felt was a little beyond what, should be. And that was one of the discussions Steve and I had with the department, was that they were okay with us opting out of it, but they didn't want to change the agreement. They wanted us to hand notate it. So what we simply did is in paragraph 17, we indicated that it'll be the village's option if we want to do any maintenance. Now, the reason we may want to do it is the state sometimes is not that responsive, and if there's a flooding issue that maybe there's leaves blocking an inlet, it may be just better for us to come out, do it, clean it, get the leaves out, drain the intersection, and not worry about trying to contact the state and coordinate with the state. But, so this gives us the option to do it, but, we don't want to be doing it as a routine matter, cleaning their storm sewers, things like that. So, those are some, some of the lesser issues, but, as I say, the big one was the cost sharing at Goodwin, and we do have it in the agreement as back to the 33% split, and we're gonna make one last try to get that approved, but, frankly, I don't, see much hope really of getting it. So that's the Route 30 agreement from 34 to 30. The other agreement is for the Route 31 interchange improvements, the relocation of the off-ramps. They're only requesting there a $6,900 cost share, and that's for the emergency vehicle preemption on the new signal at Watkins. We think that's, a reasonable cost, and so we would recommend the agreement for that one to be approved, and with, again, the changes that were similar in the other two agreements. But the cost items on the Route 3130 contract, we think are obviously manageable at $6,900. And we think, for the most part, the costs on the Route 30 from 34 to Briarcliff are as we expected, with the exception of our cost share on Goodwin. Happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions for Engineer Waller? Yes, Trustee Bond?
Just a process question. You two fellows drove to Springfield to meet with them, or
No, we talked with them over the phone.
over the phone? The person that took the position that this is our form, take it or leave it, are there 40 more people like that person that might give us a different answer, or?
I can't answer how they're structured down there. Pete might know a little bit better.
What we were informed is that the person we were dealing with took it to the Bureau of Traffic, which is, I think, the arbiter for this element, and indicated to us that they rejected our claim or our position.
Yeah. I can further explain, though, our strategy from tonight to tomorrow. They're very anxious to get this done. They're very nervous, in fact, that we won't approve it tonight, because it might mean that they would have to relet the whole thing. So time is our ally right now. And I personally believe inertia is a fabulous ally as well. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna send it down this way. And we're gonna tell them this is what the board approved. We're not gonna tell them it's subject to attorney review, where we might be able to change those things. And I think there's a shot, at least, and I don't think they'll watch the TV between now and tonight. For those of you who are going, well, this is all public. I don't think they'll get the
This is
minutes
public
by then. I think there's a shot that inertia, they'll go, well, we don't like it, but you know what, let's just get this done. And if not, if they call us on it, then we'll relent.
Then we were like,
That'd be
okay,
my recommendation to you.
and, does anybody else have any comments they want to make? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve state job number C 91015-10 with, the language attorney review. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Take the roll, please.
She said that.
Trustee Heinz.
Yay.
Trustee Brawley.
Yes.
Trustee Keck.
Yes.
Trustee Kazmir.
Yay.
Trustee Bond.
Yes?
Trustee Lee.
Yes.
The motion carries. Now we'll go right into the next one unless you have any questions. And this is state job number C-91-017-03. And with that, here again, I would suggest that the motion include the language for attorney review. And do I have a motion?
So move.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Take the roll, please.
Trustee Heinz.
Yay.
Trustee Brawley.
Yes.
Trustee Keck.
Yes.
Trustee Kazmir.
Yay.
Trustee Bond.
Yes.
Trustee Lee.
Yes.
And the motion carries.
Thank you.
So, good luck.
Thank you.
Is there any new or unfinished business to come before the board this evening?
I got a couple questions or a couple comments. Over holidays, we were at the school and I heard some concerns about, we purchased some signs for the school. And the school's concern is they're too heavy to bring out and put them on a or along the street and then bring them back in. So my question is there a way we can permanently mount them, or not permanently mount them, but at least have them there during the school season? Kind of like what they do in Oswego? What's our options for the?
The signs that trustee Kazmarek is referring to are the stop for pedestrian and crosswalk signs. As you recall, last summer, for a while, we had a process of trying to evaluate the traffic conditions around Lakewood Creek Elementary. We did quite a bit of curb painting and with crosswalks, and kind of as an add-in on the village's behalf, we donated 3 stop for pedestrian and crosswalk signs. The signs I purchased are advertised as portable signs. The base weighs 20 pounds. I have to say, I didn't get a concrete guarantee from the school that they would have staff people there that could carry those, but it seemed like a reasonable weight. Nonetheless, as trustee Kazmarek said, they don't appear to be using them. I drove through there myself and didn't see them. So that's the background. Yes, they can be pavement mounted. The reason we didn't go that direction is they're much more likely to get damaged either by vehicles or snow plows or flying snow, et cetera. So that's why we got the portable ones. But there is a mounting kit, and again, this was a village cost. It was something that, quite honestly, took the initiative on and donated those signs on behalf of the village. So,
I guess the other question is, if we don't want to poorly mount them, can we at least install them during the school season
Is that
from
possible?
September to
Director Bullock?
June?
it's
If we,
kind of an epoxy mount to the pavement, so I mean, I suppose you could pry the thing off at the end of the school season.
how does Oswego do it? You know, Chief Myers?
I do not know how they mount them on the ground, no.
Okay.
I know they do have them in their village.
I've seen different ways. I've seen one town that filled up a milk jug with cement and put the sign in. I wouldn't recommend that at all. That is certainly not in the MUTCD.
You're gonna say, do you have any wheels you can put on there?
I'd be more than willing to work with the
Scoot 'em up.
school. I don't know if you've spoken to somebody at the school, if there's a possibility that other people could carry those out, or I can look into mounting them. Eventually, they're gonna get damaged, though, is my opinion, and then if we don't,
I just don't see, I mean, I see Oswego does it, Aurora does it, and then we're trying to do the same thing, but yet the complaint is they're too heavy. I mean, you take
Could
them,
you,
I don't know.
could you talk to the principal there and see what the problem is, and maybe there's something that we could devise to do that, take care of it?
Certainly
I
we-
mean, I'd hate to see them not use them because they're just heavy.
I agree. I agree, I
And
mean,
if there's some way we could get those mounted or temporarily or something, I just think we ought, you know, look into it and see what we can do, okay?
take care of it and report back in the notes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, trustee.
Thanks. The other item is our KenCom article. What's going on with, are we gonna discuss that the next meeting, or?
We wanted to have information to actually discuss with you. We didn't feel we're at that point yet. You know, as you're aware, Sugar Grove has notified us that they are going elsewhere for their dispatch services. So as part of that, we're looking into our options, which include continuing to dispatch just as we do, having to find somewhere in our budget to make up that lost revenue, dispatching like we do and finding a new group to come in and sort of replace Sugar Grove, or for us to look at, you know, becoming part of a regional group. And so we've been trying to gather that information and the costs and what would be involved with that. We don't have everything we feel to be able to present to you yet, but we're hoping to soon, because we'd like to make a decision sooner rather than later, just for, you know, so the
Budgetary.
employees know what's going on, and so if we are making a change, we do that, and so the other groups we dispatch for know what's going on.
So our three options are KenCom, TriCom, and Aurora, correct?
We've talked to KenCom, CaneCom, and TriCom.
Okay.
So we were looking at, you know, the ones we're looking, we're trying to look at a regional group, so if we join, so right now Aurora, you know, basically just dispatches for Aurora. So we were trying to look if we were gonna switch to a different group, looking at a regional group.
But switching is only one of the options.
Right, switching is one of the
Right.
options we're looking at.
So, you know, we're just not ready to bring
Okay,
it forward for discussion. As soon as I think we have to look at numbers too. And, you know, and then as soon as all that information is available, we'll certainly put it on
Yeah,
either
I mean, we
committee
hope-
of the whole
we
or
hope
our
to bring
next
it to
board
you.
meeting.
We hope to bring it to you soon, we just wanna make sure we have a full package to present to you when we do,
Right.
so that we're able to answer
And I
your
know
questions.
you were all called and, you know, it was explained, but at that point in time, we just didn't have the information we need, so
Okay.
we'll get it on a agenda as soon as possible.
should we go for a tour of these, whatever one we wanna, how we wanna do it, or how do we wanna?
Well, I think we have to wait until we get all the information in.
Okay.
And then if that's you know, if that's what the board wants, and I'm sure that could be arranged, but let's get numbers in and start looking at the overall
Okay.
picture, okay?
What I didn't, I guess, like about it is definitely a policy decision, and yet you read it in the paper, I think even in the Beacon today or wherever, where all of a sudden now you're even going to go talk to Aurora. I was never told that. And to me, it's a policy decision, and somebody has to start this out, whether it was village president or some trustees, but to be, like you say, so that the people understand it, but our own dispatchers, our own fire departments, our police department, these guys didn't know anything about it either. And to have this come out in the paper, and all of a sudden, everybody's throwing these options around, as far as I'm concerned, we have always had our own dispatchers. We have always been in the lead with Aurora and Oswego with VHS now. We put our money into that, and now we want to go back to UHF, back to ChemCon, go backwards. It doesn't even make sense to me. I mean, it's like saying, let's hire somebody to do our snow plowing now because maybe it's cheaper. I mean, and all of a sudden you'd have all your public works guys going, well, I didn't know there was an option there. I mean, I think the communication wasn't there. And I've had people hit me on it, and I said, like today, I did not know you were still going to talk to Aurora. To me, it's throwing everything out in the open to everybody except our own residents.
We were trying to have the information to bring to you, I guess, before we, you know, so we had something to discuss with you, was our plan.
Yeah, because you mentioned us 2 months ago that Sugar Grove was pulling out, and then we wanted some options.
Right.
So that's why, and then I saw it in the paper, I was like, well, what's going on? So Jeff kind of cleared it up, but I didn't know.
Well, just because Sugar Grove pulled out, I didn't think we'd do anything. It didn't, what are you gonna do?
That's,
You can do these options, but no way would I ever vote to go back to ChemCon. I mean, that's
Well,
going backwards.
That's right.
Crazy.
We don't have that information yet, so that's why we haven't been able to bring it forward and discuss it until we get all the numbers and get all the information. And I believe that the departments have been told, is that not right?
Chief has kept the
Chief.
dispatchers and his officers apprised of what
I
was
think
going
that
on.
they've been informed.
Yes, I did send out 2 emails recently, telling them about Sugar Grove Fire and Sugar Grove Police.
So, and that was, and I'm not sure about the fire district, but, at least I know that your staff had been informed.
Both fire departments now know also.
Both fire departments also?
Montgomery Fire and Aurora Township Fire.
Okay. But,
I also met with my dispatching staff also.
okay. Well, I think that pretty much covers it, and I'm sorry it was in the newspaper first, but sometimes those things can't be helped out, yes.
Yeah, that's the comment I would make, was that this was totally premature to be printed in the papers, because there's been no discussion, no decision, no meetings, nothing on this. And unfortunately, it went into the public forum long before, anything was ever discussed on it. So it put some of our people in a difficult position. Unfortunately, it just made the public forum totally premature.
So anyway, is there any other new or unfinished business tonight? Okay, I'd entertain a motion to go into executive session to discuss collective negotiating matters pursuant to 5 ILCS 120/2 C2.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, take the roll, please.
Trustee Keck?
Yes.
Trustee Kazmir?
Yay.
Trustee Bond?
Yes.
Trustee Lee?
Yes.
Trustee Heinz?
Yay.
Trustee Brawley?
Yes.
Call the meeting back to order, and future meetings, Plan Commission meeting is this Thursday, January 17th, 2013 at 7 p.m. Committee of the Whole meeting Tuesday, January 22nd at 7 p.m. And Village Board meeting Monday, January 28th at 7 p.m. And I entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved and seconded, take the roll, please.
Trustee Heinz? Trustee Brawley? Trustee Keck?
Yes.
Trustee Kazmir?
Yay.
Trustee Bond?
Yes.
Trustee Lee?